Hey, welcome everybody. It's a little bit before noon, so give everybody a chance to log in, get their notifications, see if we get anybody on the live stream today. I got told I was going live at the same time I started teaching, and so it didn't give people a chance to get their notification from YouTube and maybe log on and join us in the live session, and maybe even be able to make some comments or ask some questions in the chat. And so as we get going here today, if you're in here live, you can give me a shout out on the chat. Tell me where you're from, maybe what your fire department, if you want to add that in. And I'll try to get some of those chat messages as part of the program today. Apparently, I wasn't doing a very good job of helping my viewers come on time and see the show. So anyway, trying to learn how to use YouTube better and hopefully help you learn to read smoke better at the same time. So we're going to be doing something different today. Today I'm going to show you the same video that we used on SBSK, which is the norm, but I'm also going to be using a video from the UL Fire Safety Research Institute. And if you haven't been to ULFSRI, and you should go take a look. They not only do they have a lot of really great research where they build real fires in real houses in their lab, right? They actually built full-scale houses in there, two different ones, a 2-story, 1-story, and they fill them with real furniture that they got from, I think it was a motel surplus place. So they had the same stuff every time, right? So they used the scientific method, changed one variable at a time, but they also took that research out to the streets and did a lot of live fire burns in actual structures where they could get maybe 8 or 10 duplexes or something like that. That's what we're going to look at today, is a duplex that they used. And we definitely have some viewers chiming in, so if you want to hit it up on the chat, let me know where you're from and I'll call you out. We had a lot of subscribers this week, so thanks for subscribing to the show. If you haven't done that yet, I appreciate that. It helps me know how many people are watching and how many people are watching live, how many are subscribers. It hopefully helps me make the stream better and make the program better for you who are watching it. So Patrick Mannion, Dan Perdue, Stephen Kaiser, Rick McCulloch, John Howard. Hey, Jeff Strock, thanks for being on board. Benjamin Kirkland, Dirk Janik, hopefully I got that right, Dirk. Jeff Brown, Adam Chapin, Jesse Goza. Sorry about that, Jesse. Wade Gale, Jesse Treat, and KJ Chase. Welcome aboard, KJ. And if you spread the word, if you find these videos helpful, if you're using them for training or whatever, let me know, because it just helps me out. We're on scene. This is the St. Louis Fire Department. So St. Louis, Missouri. You can obviously tell it's a cold day. There's a lot of snow on the ground. I assume it's a cold day. It's in the middle of January. And we can actually see, I didn't notice this initially, so somebody sent a message, chatted up on the Facebook, and said, hey, there's a line there. And I think that is a line going in the door right there, which we probably could have presumed that this door is open, which is something I was wondering about when we first watched the video. But let's take a look at this in real speed. Look at the turbulence, volume, velocity, density, color. High volume, right? High volume. We're always talking about volume relative to the size of the structure. And I would say if we go back to here, I would say this volume, that's a lot of volume from this size of structure, right? This size of house. Okay, velocity. It's always in terms of turbulent, meaning high energy, action without order, that sort of thing, or laminar, smooth, right? And this is clearly turbulent smoke. We're going to go into the slow-mo part of the video here, but definitely turbulent smoke, and not just here, but here and here and in the back, right? We can see turbulence in the back just from looking at the look up here, there's still plenty of energy coming out the back. So turbulent, is it thick or thin? Wow, there's a lot of fuel there, and the color is obviously black. And notice this is something we've talked about a couple of times with cold temperatures, is notice the smoke changes really fast as it cools down, as it starts to condense. But it doesn't, sometimes it'll go all the way to white, but this fuel package has so much fuel in it. It's still just on the gray scale, moving all the way down, 40, 50, 60 feet from the structure on a cold day, right? So high volume, turbulent, thick black smoke, which if we're owning the house is not good, but for firefighters, this is something we like. We're going to get a chance to go in there and hit it. So the other thing that we got here is a little bit of smoke coming out the door. So at the door here, we have a little bit of bidirectional flow, which means there's fresh air going in at the 5 to 6 foot level, and this fire is burning hot. It also tells us that this crew should have really good visibility in there. And if you've got a question about the video or what I talked about on SBSK, feel free to throw it up there in the chat. I've had quite a few people sending me emails and stuff, and that's great, but I like to get it up here in the YouTube, so if you have a question, we can answer it here and help everybody learn a little bit. All right, including me. Including me, there's always more to learn. All right, so fresh air going in, crew going in. I would expect if this video goes, this is only a clip, I think. This is what was available, but I suspect that if we got this for another minute or so, we'd see this change to white smoke, because this crew is in here, they're going to get to see the fire, and they're going to have a big impact, right? Now, the other thing, as we're playing this video, is we are looking at a really significant exhaust, not just from a velocity and turbulence perspective, but pretty remote from the seat of the fire. And one of the points of discussion that a couple of people brought to me in messaging was that they thought maybe this was oxygen controlled, was it ventilation limited, or was it fuel controlled? And there is a ton of fuel here, right? And so sometimes when people think about ventilation controlled fires, they think that they're always going into the decay state, and that's not true, right? So ventilation control basically means, the way that I think about it is there more fuel available than there is oxygen available to burn? And in this case, it's getting a lot of oxygen, so that's why we have so much heat, so much turbulence, right? But it has a ready supply of a pretty significant ready supply of oxygen. So you have a freight train of fresh air / oxygen going in here, combusting in here, and coming out, right? Coming out. All right. Now let's look at. Typically, I don't use multiple videos in a day in a session, but we're going to go to this other one. So I like to shout out to. Let's see where it should be up. Hold on, give me a second. And here we go. All right. So I gave a shout out earlier to Dan Madrigowski and all the crew up at NIST and UL and the firefighter safety research institute, right? I think that's the right name, but you'll find it if you Google it. And this I talked about. This is a test burn, and so these here are packages of instruments. So temperature, velocity of the smoke, whether it's like in here we'll see later there's a bidirectional flow, so air or smoke coming out of the top, air going in at the bottom. They measure that stuff, right? How much CO there is, what the oxygen concentration is in these rooms, that sort of thing. You're going to see a firefighter up here. Don't worry about that. This is a side-by-side duplex. They're just up there to make sure that the fire does not extend. And this is a floor 1 fire with a single window open on floor 2. We're going to watch. This is going to go, the fire's going to grow. We're going to have pretty significant smoke out here. We're also, if we're taking our inventory, right, for reading smoke, we want to inventory the 4 attributes: volume, velocity, density, color. We don't just want to get distracted by this large volume that's going to come out here. We also want to look at the cracks and seams around these windows, around this door, and see what's going on here. And so what will happen is this fire is going to start to grow. You'll notice it's running at like 2 or 3 times speed. Fire on the first floor is going to grow. We'll see smoke pushing out around the cracks and seams of the door and also out of the window. Fire is going to grow pretty good, but then it's going to run low on oxygen, right? It's going to become vent limited, and it's going to go into decay. And when it goes into decay and the temperature starts to go down, then we're going to see this smoke disappear from this floor 2 window. The smoke already disappeared around the door. There we go. Boom, it's gone, right? So, is there a significant fire here? Yes, right? There's a significant fire, but this has become an intake rather than an exhaust. Air is going to flow in here for a while. That air, the oxygen is going to get to the fire, and it would grow bigger. It's not going to happen in this case because they are going to open the door, but recognize that the smoke actually stopped, the pressure stopped down here before it stopped up there. I'm going to go back just a little bit, and you can see that develop. Right, it's coming out around the door, but then it stops, and then eventually it stops upstairs. Here we go, boom, and now it's an intake. Okay, one other thing we should look at, so this is starting to mix it up here, but so this is a ventilation controlled fire that went into decay because the total available oxygen supply is very, very low, and in fact, it's almost non-existent here on floor number 1. There's some going in here now, and it will eventually make its way downstairs, but on floor 1, that's not the case. Right, what we have going on in the other video we're watching is what we're about to see, which is they're going to open this door and the fire is going to take off, and this becomes 100% exhaust again. Fire is so close, and we do have, it's almost the same in other ways. This fire is right inside this front room as opposed to the video we're watching. It's a little further in, but you're going to see a bidirectional flow at the door, and the fire is going to go to flashover. And then the video ends, right? So let's take a look at that. And when they open this door, now we have basically almost the same situation as we have in the video from Facebook, right? Significant velocity and density out here, a bidirectional flow here, and a fire that's back in the growth stage, right? Back in the growth stage, you can see it, and it's going to flash over. It's going to go to flashover. I missed the pause there. Let me drag it. Right, it's going to go to flashover right about here. And if you go to their ULFSRI website, you can see this video in its entirety. You can see what happens. They have a lot of good stuff there. But we have I wanted to catch that, right? So what we have in the video that, let's go back to it. Let's go back. Oh, one more thing before I leave this. When we're watching this here, we also should have taken note of smoke around these closed windows here, right? As it's growing, you're going to see smoke puffing out around this window. See that? Okay, if we see that, we know that the door to this room is open. The windows are closed, but the door is open. Okay. All right. Let's take it back to the other video that we're using this week. Good. Okay. So we're sort of back to the setting, right? So no questions on the chat just yet, and I'm probably getting ready to start wrapping up. But notice that this is the same sort of situation, right? We have a open on floor 2, and I don't know if this is a half story or just an attic, but either way, we have opening on the floor above, and we have fresh air going in the main entry door, and we have a little bit of a bi-directional flow. Now the difference between the video we watched from UL And this one is that this fire is already significantly going, right? There's a significant fire in here, and it's got a really nice flow path. The fresh air in, the hot smoke and gases out, and that's why we have so much volume, velocity, density, color, right? High volume, turbulent, thick black smoke coming out every opening on floor number 2. Right? And probably if it's not a half story, it's definitely attacking the structure, right? There's so much heat there that these 2x4s and stuff up here, they're just not gonna hold up very long. Okay. The other thing is wherever this fire is, right, it's got a ready supply of oxygen. It's a good sized fire for this structure, and it's burning really hot, and those gases are flowing. And so once those gases start flowing, they're going to superheat everything between there and the exhaust point. And that stuff is all off-gassing. It's off-gassing some water vapor. It's off-gassing combustible and flammable liquids, aerosols, particulates, and gases, right? All 3 components of smoke are being produced because this, if it's, say it's here, from here to here, it's just picking up fuel. It's just breaking stuff down and picking up fuel. And that's why there's so much density as it comes out this opening up here. All right, so again, we always want to think about volume, velocity, density, color, apply those to the box, figure out what's going on. And in this case, it's a relatively simple solution, right? I mean, you got a front door right here, you got a fire somewhere in here that's venting, you got a nice flow path. And like I said, as soon as, if that's a line, which I think it is, inch 3/4 line, as soon as they get in there to wherever the seat of this fire is, this is going to change like that, right? That water application is going to be devastating, and all the steam, we're going to get copious volumes of bright white, clean, pristine, dissipating white when we switch it over to steam. And then we're in the mop-up stage, right? But there's going to be a lot of, if we look at this, because of how much heat there is and how much of this floor 2 is being exposed to really, really high heat levels, there's going to be a lot of embers. There's going to be a lot of overhaul necessary up there in order to make that thing, make sure that thing is out. All right. Hey, if you're on the live stream, thanks for joining me. Remember, it's 2 p.m. Eastern time every Thursday. Most of the time I'm live. Occasionally I have to record in advance if I'm out teaching or something like that. You can see in the show notes, you can see where I'm teaching next, which is at Red Helmet Training. Thanks to Jesse Penalty down in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Really looking forward to that in May. And with that, this is Phil Jose for the Art of Reading Smoke. And I'm out.